Welcome back to Bear With Me, presented by Prize Picks. The Boston Bruins slated to start the 2023-2024 Stanley Cup playoffs come tomorrow night against the Toronto Maple Leafs. My name is Joey Capone. That's Rob Tachi. Rob, how you doing?
I'm doing so good, dude. I started a new job this week, and so it's like syllabus week where I don't really have much to do because I haven't been trained on anything. So I've really just been watching Bruins like playoff videos and like hype videos and recap videos. Like while I have like an article up on my screen where I'm doing something else. If anybody at work's listening, I'm joking. I'm not joking. So I'm so excited. I have really been wishing away this entire end of the week just to get Saturday night. I'm so excited for playoff hockey.
Something hit me today. We're recording this on Friday evening. Something hit me today where I thought it was Saturday. I just had like a low workload today, and I was like, oh my God, like I can't wait like 3 more hours. And then, that punched me in the face. It's Friday. So 27 hours from that time in the past. But if you're listening to this, it's probably game day, and you're probably just as excited as we are. So we want to just get one more episode in this week and just talk a little bit about this series, talk a little bit about the matchup, talk about whatever it is that Rob has written down, because I got nothing written down. I'm just here to talk bees. I got nothing planned. I don't know what we're going to talk about. I think we're just hanging out, sharing excitement.
Yeah, honestly, I think we're just kind of venting in a good way, positive venting.
Yeah. And I would love to talk about anything that is in front of your pretty little face other than Swayman Omar. If we can talk about anything other than that, that'd be great.
We're talking about that immediately. No, we are, just to get it out of the way, because no, it's good. You're gonna like my opinion on this. I thought about this long and hard because everybody, that's clearly the discussion that you're alluding to. Is everybody, is it Ullmark? Is it Swayman? Is it Ullmark? Is it Swayman? Like, Ullmark's been so good recently, but Swayman played so well against Toronto. I thought very long and hard about it, and I have a definitive answer. I don't care.
Dude,
it doesn't matter. It just doesn't. Both of them are great options, and they're gonna rotate. Why are we spending so much time talking about this? Like, it's interesting, and like even Monty's like, I'll never tell, like, because like they know what they're doing. They're like, we have a plan, but don't ask us about it.
It doesn't matter. And I'll get this out of the way too, so we're not like, stay tuned to the end to hear our predictions. I'll just say this right now too. They're each going to play 3 games. And the Bruins are going to win 4 out of those 6 games. There you go. That's what's going to happen. And it doesn't matter if one of them plays game 1, the other game 2, or if they go 2 games and then 2 games. And it doesn't matter. They're both going to play hockey. They're both going to play. I hope. I think it would be insane if they didn't. They're both going to play. They don't really care who gets game 1. Game 1 doesn't matter more than the other games. It counts as one game. At the end, when you look back at the series score, you won't even be able to tell which one is game 1. It'll just say 4-2.
Yeah, this isn't like a 1-game play-in where it's even if they lose this game, it's fine. Like I too have them winning in 6. I wish I could pick 5.5 because 5 doesn't feel right. It doesn't. It's like, no, they might drop 2, but then 6, I'm like, I feel like I'm not believing in them enough.
6 is such a cop-out. It's just the easiest answer, but it just feels right. I mean, I'm right with you where like a 5 wouldn't shock me, but 6 feels safer. And I think if it goes to 7, my confidence like skyrockets. I don't know why. It just does. I mean, we know why. We know exactly why, but because it's Toronto and against
because it's Toronto. Good. All right. That's it. That was all
right. That's it. Thanks
I just wanted to say that. Like I don't care. It doesn't matter. It's either one's fine. So my notes are in no particular order. We're gonna be jumping around.
Let's jump, brother.
Justin Brazeau skating again. I really like to hear that. I'll lump in the Derek Forbort news right now. I was a little surprised to hear that Brazeau was skating again, and it's playoff season. Like they're not really like they being the team in Montgomery. They're not going to tell us what's going on. It's going to be very secretive. I did not expect Brazeau to be his timeline to be what it appears to be now. Like maybe end of the series, maybe a second round if they get there. Derek Forbort is shocking me. as we record on Jesus Christ, April 19th, Derek Forbert's playing for the Providence Bruins tonight.
Yeah, he is.
That's crazy.
That's awesome.
Oh man, that's good. And I know people were like, Forbert sucks. I'm like, apparently he was playing through 2 different injuries. So I am never gonna poo-poo more defense depth, especially from a guy like Derek Forbert. No. So that is fantastic news. And I'm very happy.
I mean, provided everything goes well, he will prove to be a really large asset just in terms of, like you said, just defensive depth. So he's a guy that you want available.
Absolutely. And then staying on defenseman, Andrew Peake's 5th NHL season, 1st NHL playoffs.
Wow. Well, I mean, the other 4 were with the Anaheim Ducks, no?
Columbus, even worse. Well, maybe not worse, but equally bad. I think I'm excited to see him in the playoffs. To kind of rehash our opinions on him when the news broke the trade, everybody's like, fucking what? This guy for this amount of money? Like, with nothing retained? But eye test alone, I've been very, very happy with Peake's performance. A great stay-at-home, solid physical defenseman. And I think he will be very, very important in the playoffs. In his role.
I think the more stay-at-home, shut-down, big body defenseman that you have, the better. It's a lost art, and it's an art that really only carries the weight that you expect it to in times like the playoffs.
I agree.
So yeah, more defensive depth is great.
Speaking of defensive depth, Mason Lohrei from the Bayou also called up along with Johnny Beecher because it is the NHL playoffs and the salary cap does not exist. Cough, cough, Vegas. It's such a.
I just heard Mark Stone's feeling better. Did you see that?
Yeah, he has 2 spleens now. Somehow
he seems. I don't know. The timing is just bananas.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? I honestly think that's the thing. Like, I don't care. I don't care at all. Like, if you're gonna be mad at the league. Like, if anything, I'm more mad the Bruins aren't also doing it.
The only time I've ever been mad about it is like when Tampa first did it, because because it was brand new. 1, 2, they're in our division, and it was like Tampa was already a super team, and then they were adding. I think they were adding Stammer and Kucherov.
It was 2019, right? When they were like outrageously the best team in the league. Not that it mattered. Thank you, Columbus. Thank you so much.
We simply cannot talk about that, Rob. We simply cannot say that ever on this show. We can't. We
can't thank Columbus, or we can't allude to.
We can't shit on Tampa for being one of the greatest teams of all time and then getting bounced in the first round is what we can't do.
We took it to 7 games at least. All right.
You're right. That really made it better. That made it feel a lot better that we blew a 3-1 lead as well.
What do you think about Lohrei seeing, I don't want to say significant ice time, but ice time? Right, because he's got to be like your 7th D right now.
Yeah. I think it's inevitable. It's probably not in game 1. And I just hope he remembers that he's a defenseman. I think this is a time where leadership really steps in, and guys like McAvoy and Carlo having conversations with him about the importance of positional responsibility in the playoffs really matters. Because, I love Mason Lohrei's offensive ability, and you're going to have to find scoring depth on the Bruins roster somewhere. So it won't shock me if he tries to get involved. But Toronto's just... They have too many scoring threats to not play conservative. So if Mason Lohrei wants to play defense, I think that'd be great. But if he wants to keep cosplaying as a forward, I think that might be, I don't know. I don't think he's, I don't want to use the word liability, but he puts himself in some situations.
He does. Rewatching highlights from the 4 games between the Bruins and Leafs.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the, at least in the last one, probably some of the best Lohrei looked. I don't know what it is about Toronto, if it's their play style, if it was just that night, if it was whatever he had for dinner that night. I don't know what it is.
Might be dinner.
It could be dinner, but he seems to be well suited against them. I agree. He's not gonna. He probably won't play game 1. I could see even game 2, honestly.
Yeah,
And
I was
I
thinking
think
that
it'd be
too.
pretty limited minutes because you got McAvoy already playing like 27 minutes a game, something outrageous.
38 probably.
McAvoy.
41.
Oh, I meant regular season playoffs. He's playing over 30. He's 30 or over, easy, like real easy. He will be, especially when you have a team like Toronto with what?
I don't know. That's high.
What, 30?
Every night? You think he's going to be over 30 regular
literally,
every night?
yes. I really genuinely am. I would average 30 a night. Yeah. Well, when you have a team like Toronto who's like, and we're going to get into this because I'm not so convinced about their depth. When you have such high-end offensive talent, you kind of need to have your superstar defenseman out there pretty often matching up against them because they are going to get a lot of ice time. Matthews is going to see a lot of ice this series. But with Lohrei, I hope, like you said with the leadership thing, I don't know what it would take, but I just really hope he minimizes the carelessness, or at the very least is just stronger on the puck. A lot of his issues came from just soft backhands out of their own zone, or just not being strong enough on the puck or on the stick. So I'm hoping just in this moment that isn't the case. We will see.
That we will.
And then for Beecher, I'm really happy Beecher's getting called back up again. I think he'll play. I would expect him in the opening lineup. For faceoffs alone, I'm a little bit worried about faceoffs in this series. Not the Bruins' strongest, their strongest skill set this season. Zacha was pretty good. Coyle's pretty good. Beecher, about 55%, but Toronto has Tavares, and Tavares is like one of the best in the league, and they know that. And when they're playing a high offensive game, possession is going to be key. And I think Tavares is going to eat up the Bruins at the dot all series long. I don't know if Boston's going to have a great answer for John Tavares at the dot. Amazing opportunity for someone like Coyle or Zacha to step up and really like pump up their numbers, but I'm a little bit worried. I think I would not be surprised if most games it's like tipped like 60-40 for Toronto, if not a little bit more.
I'm looking at the numbers here. So yeah, Tavares 59%, Matthews 53.5, Kampf at 50.9, Domi at an even 50. I mean, I got to look at the Bruins numbers as well, but I mean, that's pretty stacked. Going down, maintaining 50% at your third, fourth center is certainly something to keep an eye on. I don't know if that's my biggest concern is like face-off wins. I'll take that. But I mean, it's not my biggest concern. It's their scoring depth, but I know you wanted to dive into that more, but also, I mean, Zacha's at 54.8, Johnny Beecher at 54.6, Coyle 51.6.
Like above 50 is good. Like I'm happy with that, but I think Tavares is going to be taking like 15 to 20 a night if they can get him in. I don't really know what his ice time is like, but old man Johnny T. And I think we said this before, but my brain does not accept that's the same John Tortorella. Jesus Christ, we just can't avoid John Tortorella. I cannot believe that John Tavares is John Tortorella. There's just something about it that I can't accept.
Something my brain does not want to believe it. He averages like 18 a night, so he's still playing full minutes.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, but I can't in my head. I'm like, that's not the Islanders guy. That's somebody else. This is a whole other man. Who knows? Yeah. Okay, this is a good instance of my notes being out of order. Coyotes, dude.
Oh yeah. Let's just
Okay, so I watched a good amount of that game, mostly the end of it and the beginning of it. Mm-hmm. Coyotes broadcast did not touch it. They barely mentioned it for at least in the opening of the game. Like there was almost no acknowledgement of what was going on. They kind of just were talking about the game in the context of, you're out of the playoffs. It's game 82. It's kind of hard to get up for this one. Which is ooh, that's tough because I'm sure the other broadcast was not being shy about it. Yeah. But the end of the game there was a shot. So obviously the team comes out, like their office comes out, they're taking the team photo, like signing stuff for the fans, like a whole hullabaloo. There's like one shot of one of the cheerleaders, ice girls, I'm not sure what they're called, waving the flag and just fully crying.
God
And
damn.
that's when I was like, oh god damn it. Like it, like I, you know me, like Coyotes have been my second team, like since I started watching hockey. Shane Doan was like really why. Which is why I have been like livid that they threw his retirement banner in a dumpster.
They didn't.
Okay, good. That makes me feel better. I was really hoping I was going to be wrong.
They were going to.
Oh, thank God. I thought they did, and the guy fished it out.
No, he found it in a storage bin that was like designated to be trashed.
Incinerated.
Yeah. He pulled it out of the incinerator like in Toy Story 3. He dived into the trash pile and skeeved it out of there. No, he stole it from inside the storage bin. Good. It had been taken, but I think the worst part is that the people from Gila River Arena had contacted the Coyotes and been like, "Hey, you forgot this. Hey, it's us. You forgot this. Hello."
You know the one player in your entire franchise whose number you retired?
Mm-hmm.
The one, like the face of the team.
Yeah.
Still,
I don't remember. I still think it's Keith Tkachuk, but a lot of people.
Okay, that's fair. I'll give you that.
And Keith Tkachuk, Jeremy Roenick, but yeah, Shane Doan in terms of longevity, yes.
I love Shane
Doan. I saw somebody say, I don't remember who it was. I really wish I did. I think it was in an article somewhere that said, if you can find space within, I think you sent it to me actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Like if you can find space in the arena for advertisements, you can find space in the arena to honor Shane Doan in some way. Would a full-size banner inside Mullet Arena, would that be too much? Probably.
The one banner. It's not like it's the Bruins and they have like 12 retired numbers. It's one.
Make a new one.
Banner.
I don't know. Make it t-shirt sized. It doesn't matter. But like
you have a banner. You have Shane Doan's banner. Then like, yeah, we won. They won the division or the conference one year. I think the division. And it's like, okay, like they won the quarterfinals, semifinals, whatever.
Nice.
It's upsetting. And it's like one of those things where it's like, this is why you're getting moved. It's like, this is the type of shit that is emblematic of like why this didn't work out. It's because you suck and you don't really care.
Are there new owners? Did I see that?
Yeah, the team got sold to the owner of the Utah Jazz. But Alex,
isn't he like 28?
The owner of the Jazz?
No, the guy who I saw in that clip that the NHL posted. It's like a husband and wife, I assume, or some very close siblings. But they are standing next to each other, arm in arm, and it says new owners of the NHL Utah team, and they look young.
No,
they look really young. I don't know if they if they're the Jazz owners, God bless them. If they own the Jazz, and now the whoever these guys are,
the Utah Hockey Club. Yeah, Ryan Smith. Yeah, he's 46, but he's rich.
What?
So he looks 29.
My goodness, God bless him.
He has 5 children. Classic Utah.
That picture, that image of them like standing arm in arm. Like, we are so excited to have hockey in Utah. It looks like they're standing out front of like their first house. Like they just bought some off the truck, terrible development house in the suburbs.
That whole video looked like and had the vibe of the video you would watch when you join a cult. Like that's the join, like, and it's so repetitive. Like the NHL coming to Utah. NHL in Utah. We're so happy. Utah. I was like,
I love that the beginning is like, NHL is in Utah. Utah is in NHL. NHL, Utah is in Utah. Utah and his NHL and is in.
You can't spell Utah without NHL. Asterisks. Yeah, no, but they are the owners, and right now, obviously we don't know what the name is, and I think the first question is it going to be Utah or is it going to be Salt Lake City? And it's confirmed to be Utah.
Yeah,
which is a little Salt Lake City, maybe a little wordy, but like I think it sounds cooler than Utah. something about the word Utah. It just doesn't sit well in your mouth. I don't like the word Utah. Something about it.
It sounds like one of those.
You go ahead.
It sounds like one of those states where people will harp on your pronunciation of it. Like people do that with Nevada and Colorado. They're like, it's not Colorado, it's not Nevada. You know, it's like one of those where like I feel like, you know, 2 games into the year, people are gonna be like, why is everyone saying Utah like that? It's pronounced Utah. Ugh. And we're gonna have to be like, fine, whatever. I've never thought about your
Mormon hipster.
Yeah.
Oh,
sorry, you're not at the top of the cultural lexicon, Utah. But
definitely
I'm pretty mad about something that isn't real. Is what I'm at. Yeah. I'm in a good mood today. I'm in a great mood.
One thing about this whole conversation that came out is that they're like, yeah, we really don't want to rush the name, so much so that they seem to be going the PWHL route, where it's like, yeah, we're just Utah for the first year. It's just Utah. They did try. Did you see the trademarks that they filed?
I did. It was like the Fury and like the Blizzard.
So 5 names that they've trademarked are the Utah Blizzard, Utah Venom, which I guess goes into the B thing, Utah Fury, Utah HC, and Utah Hockey Club. For a temporary name, I kind of don't hate Utah HC. For a temporary name, it's not bad. It's pretty clean. And then I remember that's what the Habs
Europe
are.
I think that's cool when like in Barcelona FC. Yeah, I do.
That's what the Habs are too, which I learned. Like the logo, the CH, the H isn't habitant. It's like hockey club or whatever.
Yeah,
the French equivalent is. I did not.
Club.
So I think it's pretty wild that we're just
kidding.
Yeah. I thought it was pretty wild that we're not going to have a name for them potentially in the first year.
They have to. I think they have to. Just like with all the negative everything, I don't know. Like I think that's the worst thing that came out of Washington is that they were like, we're going to be the football team, which people like kind of took to.
The Washington football players.
And then they changed it again and made it worse. How do you come up with a name that's worse than the football team?
What is it again?
And also it's like all the Commanders. And it's like now you have to throw out all that merch. And like they changed the logo again too. So it's like, so what, you had a logo for 2 years? Like there's so many problems with it that I thought were just so ugly. And it's so unserious to be like, we're still thinking of a name. You have months. You can't think of a fucking name in months. You have months.
This is what I'm getting at. I think when they say we don't want to rush it, I think it's like we don't have it yet. And we aren't just going to come up with one to like rush in and like have one to have one. Like if we come up with one, we'll go with it. But even the owner, I think, was like the new owner was posting like, what would you name it?
That's what you do.
It was all Mormon jokes. It was just all Mormon jokes.
Yeah. That's the thing. But like, that's what happened with the Kraken. They were like, what should we name ourselves? And everyone was like, the Kraken. They were like, you got it. Like that's not what you do. That's how a lot of teams got their names in decades past. Is they would have newspaper write-in conversation.
The Bruins are named after a grocery store. Like. It doesn't have to have a great origin. Like it's still a sick name. Like the Boston Bruins. That's a very, very solid name. No biases here. I didn't like any of the trademarks other than the Utah HC. And again, that's only as like a temporary name. I don't like Blizzard, Venom, or Fury. I don't even really like Yeti all that much.
I don't like Yeti. I don't like Yetis. I don't like it. I texted you this. I don't like the singular names in general. I think the Avalanche get away with it, and I think they're the only one.
Oh,
I don't like. Yeah, I don't like the Lightning being Lightning. It's like
because then you need a secondary name. Because then they're the Bolts. Because you're like, I'm a Lightning. Okay.
Exactly. That's where
I'm an Avalanche. Like
that's where it falls into weird stuff. Then you become an Avalanche player or a Lightning player, like an Av. Like,
no, he's a Bruin. Like he's a Bruin.
People, real quick, I have to talk about baseball on every episode of the show. I hate people. I don't know if you know this, but people refuse to say Red Sox because it's an X instead of CKS. So they'll never say like a Boston Red Sox. They'll say a Boston Red Sox, which makes me want to wring people's neck.
I would say Red Sox player.
Or they say Red Sox player. I hate that so much. It just doesn't sound
good no matter what.
Rafael Devers is my favorite Red Sox. Sue me. I hate that so much. It just
It
So
sounds
that's one of the
wrong.
reasons I don't like the Kraken or like the Yeti. It's like, just who are you guys? Tell me who you are.
In a weird way, I feel like hearing like, oh, he's my favorite Kraken. Like that kind of sounds right to me for some reason. Like, oh,
Because that's also a
Veneers is
singular.
my favorite Kraken. Yeah, well, the Yeti works both ways because Yeti could be plural and singular.
It is. I thought it's not Yetis.
Maybe I'm wrong. It just sounds like it's like deer or Jedi. Yeah. It's just like one of those words that's just like it's the same both ways.
Yeah. Mouse.
Okay. Goose.
Yeah.
All right, moving on.
These are all great examples.
Very good. So let's just name animals for the next 45 minutes.
Hey, really quick, before we move on to naming more animals, if we're going to switch topics here, which I assume we are.
We are.
Let's hear from our good friends over at Prize Picks.
Prize Picks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 3 million members. It is the easiest and most exciting way to get on the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. You just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats and watch the winnings roll in. Prize Picks is so easy to play. I can make my Celtic picks and make my entry in less than 60 seconds. Quick withdrawals and easy gameplay and an enormous selection of players and stat types are what makes Prize Picks the #1 fantasy sports app. Celtics and NBA fans, you can get in on Prize Picks in 30 states across the country, including California, Texas, and Georgia. On Prize Picks this week, I'm selecting Jason Tatum to dish out more than 5 assists and his teammate Jaylen Brown to have more than 22.5 points. Download the app today and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Prize Picks.
Rob, you had something?
I do have something. So now, again, bouncing around in the notes, media with the team after practice. I believe this quote is from today. If it wasn't from today, it was from yesterday. I like this quote from Marchand. Very obvious where this quote's coming from, but it is: the worst thing you could possibly do is go into the playoffs thinking anything you did in the season matters.
Wow.
Which
That's
like
cool.
it's simultaneously like, yeah,
that.
obviously, but after last season, I think last season the playoff ending the way it did for them was probably like the most humbling, like grounding thing that could have possibly happened to them. And and which made me realize that's probably why so many Presidents Trophy winner teams do so well the year after, because they're like, okay, you know what, fair. Like we got the right mindset now.
I mean, not to just live in the squalor of our shortcomings, but thinking about the reports that came out about what that locker room was like after Game 7 last year, like, I think that anybody who was there last year is going to be thinking about that.
It's just crying. It's going to be silence, right? That's what it was.
Just silence. Disbelief, I think, is the word that was thrown around a lot. Disbelief. It's over. It's done. It's really over. You didn't do it. You fucked up. And I think anybody who is still on this team remembers that feeling very well. And I don't know, not to make it all about grit and determination, but I think that plays a part in it, dude. Like you said, that's a nightmare to live out once. To have it happen again, obviously a very different scenario, less on the line in terms of, your captain's career coming to an end and all that, and being the heavy favorite and the winningest team of all time and blah, blah. But I mean, the storyline this year is also a bad one. Like, you couldn't, to be bounced in the first round by Toronto.
Yeah.
That's also a weight hanging over you.
A lot of things all at the same time. Like, I'm not going to say it would be worse than last year, because nothing will be worse than last year, but it would be bad.
It would be bad.
It would be bad. It would be a really long, difficult summer for all of us.
And I think him remembering that and Marshy bringing it up, I think that's saying without saying. Like, we all remember last year. We all remember exactly how we felt.
We can do some more specific like series predictions if you'd like later on once I'm through my notes, which we're cruising through. But I do just want to say that I think Brad Marchand is going to pop off this series. I think he will
Yeah.
dictate the pace of play for both teams every game. I don't think he'll always be on the board, but I think every game it's going to be one of those like, damn, Marchand's pissed off, or like he's got a bee under his bonnet.
Yeah.
I think because of everything we just said, because it's his first year with the captaincy, I think he's going to flip a switch when that puck drops. I hope he gets the opening draw. Or not the actual face-off, but I hope he's on the ice to start. I really do. I think it'll be superstars versus superstars.
I think so too. I love the image of Marshy doing that. It was a down year for Marshy. Like that's something like remember. Like he wasn't Marchand this year. And for a lot of the year we kept saying like, oh, he's gonna pop off. And like he didn't.
No, he really did. It was like an okay. It was. I would say it's a good. He had 67 points. That's a good year.
It's a good year.
When we've seen him hit 100, we're like, okay, we know you can do a little more. He's getting up there. The one game I can think of, like just off the top of my head, where he did flip and dictate the pace of play, and like I don't want to say won the game, but like really had a big hand in it, was against the Leafs.
Yep.
Which is all McCabe's fault. All McCabe's fault. Like that's entirely on him for doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But Marchand probably was ready to just have a good game. Then he's like, I'm gonna fucking ruin your night. And then he was like taking it out on other players, which was even better.
You know what's funny is this felt like a down year for him. He matched his point total exactly to last year. He's 67 points.
All right. Well, there we go.
9 more games, but same point total as last year on the dot. And then the 2 years before that, 69. So yeah, I guess, but age is there. Can't deny that. Been playing for quite some time, this guy.
I mentioned this before. Want to say again, reading Maple Leafs Twitter is shout and fraud's not the right word. We need a whole new German word for this. I love it so much.
Sarsaparilla.
There it is. Sunset Sarsaparilla for all my New Vegas players out there.
Mm-hmm.
I love how much you all hate your own team. It is so much fucking fun. You simultaneously think you're better than everybody, and you also hate your own team so much. Like it's every it's either that like no one can beat us, but also we suck so fucking much, which I relate to on a personal level because I also am of the opinion I'm like I feel better than everybody, and then also I'm like man I'm the worst fucking person alive. Like I'm treading that line all the time.
Yeah.
I've been seeing a lot. It might just have been the same tweet getting quoted a lot, but it's just a picture of the Bruins roster from game 82, like the lineup.
Mm-hmm.
And people were like, you're scared of this? And it's like, including like Magna in the lineup too.
Yeah.
I want to be like, yeah, you guys lost to them 4 times. It's like, they're one of the best teams in the league. They did better than you did, dipshits. Like you should probably be a little bit worried.
They also, I mean, they haven't beat them in the regular season since 22, right? Is that correct?
November 5th, 2022.
That's a while ago. So that's the thing about that, guys, is that's a while ago. So, here's the thing. Let me say this. Let me get this on the record. You guys are right. It's a really, really bad Bruins lineup, and you guys should kick the shit out of the Bruins. You should. And if you don't, it's really embarrassing. Just know that the bar is you should sweep them because it's such a bad lineup. They suck, and they're thin. And it's your last year with Nylander, so you're going to want to cash in there because you guys are not keeping him because you guys fucking hate him. And guess what? He probably feels the same way. Not a lot of guys signing big contracts there. It's so weird.
Has there ever been any player that's been like, oh, I love playing in Toronto? Like, I'm sure there has been. But, like, it's like every
time. It means it?
It means it.
You know what happens? Fair, yeah. What happens a lot is that guys will go there and be like, I grew up a Leafs fan, so I'm so excited to be here. And then you never hear them talk about liking Toronto or being a fan ever again. You see low pictures of them when they were 6 years old, like John Tavares in his,
sitting on his papa's knee.
Yeah, in a onesie with Matt Sundin's face on it or something. And then you never hear again about how much they like Toronto. And then all their guys who come up with them sign big deals elsewhere. Or free agents that like you hear, oh, they're going to go to Toronto, and they never do. So
yeah, the only people who hate the Leafs more than Leafs fans are the Leafs media, which holy
and the
shit, that's got to get so annoying as players so quick. Like Boston media, like I mean, they're critical, but they're not cruel. Like, I mean, the team gives us plenty to write about and like talk about positively, but I don't like thumb through Toronto, like the Toronto Sun or whatever, like the actual newspaper is people read there, but I can't imagine it being a great place to play.
No.
And sticking with Leafs fans being comically stupid. The clip I sent you, and you all may have seen this floating around, where game 82, William Nylander is going into the offensive zone, and he bats the puck out of the air with a high stick, like well above his head, and it's in front of him, and like he's just coasting. He's not making a play on it because it would end the play because it was played with a high stick.
Played with a high stick, so a whistle would have blown, Rob?
Well, whistle would have blown, Joey.
Yep.
Every response is just get him off the team. This is inexcusable. This is why you shouldn't be a Leaf. Don't even let him play in game 1. Like, this isn't why this is why you're not gonna get re-signed. Like, how? Like, are you all serious? Are you serious? Can you imagine, like, of all the shit that people even get Pastrnak, can you imagine? There's no equivalent. Like, there's nothing that you've ever seen a Bruins player do in game 82 to inspire that amount of stupidity. It's incredible. I just want to eat it all up. Like, I just wish I had like a 1,000-page novel of Leafs tweets so I could just read them all as I fall asleep. It's incredible. And I'm so excited for 2 weeks of it.
They operate and think and act and tweet like a team that started watching hockey this year. It's crazy. Like, you guys are the hockey market. You guys are the hockey country, the hockey city. Aren't you guys like the biggest team? Why do you act like you've never seen the game before? It's like the most fair weather fandom I've ever seen in my life, to just show up now and be like, I hate this guy. Get him off my team. Okay. All right. We'll say no more, because you got maximum 7 games left with him. So have a good time. That play, just like in a vacuum, it's like, yeah, it would have blown the play dead, right? And he's skating to the bench. And they're like, because he coasted, he gave up that ice long pass, like that 80-foot pass to the opposing blue line that split the D. He did that? I'm baffled at how little hockey thinking went into any criticism of that play. They're just awesome, bro. They're just awesome.
So good. Because, like, I'm not even mad about it. Like, I can't. I know I'm getting animated, but like, it's just funny. Like, it would be frustrating if you saw a Bruins fan doing something like that. Be like, guys, come on! It's like you're making us look bad, but it's like, holy shit! I just want a big old.
And the thing is, in Boston,
big old bag of popcorn.
The media would have like responded to that in some way, like someone like Ty or Connor, or even some of the older guys probably would have like quote tweeted that and been like, this is an overreaction. This is crazy. William Nylander is like one of the best players on this team. You're not here without William Nylander. This is ridiculous. And I didn't see any Toronto media like coming to the rescue there. Weren't they also like, this is unacceptable?
I truly don't know. I think I would hope that it would be so below them that they're like, I'm not biting. I'm going to read. There's a lot of these. I'm going to read one specific one right now.
Please do.
Exhibit 76B. Nylander can't be on the team. This is not a team player. Period. No rebuttals. A universal truth. You can't have a guy doing this stuff in the playoffs. Where we have many clips of him doing so. Dude, yeah, please sit William Nylander this series because he didn't play that puck. I beg of you not to play the second best player in your fucking team, which after Austin Matthews. Oh my God.
You guys are right, actually. Now that I think about it, I think they're right. They shouldn't play him. And if they do play him, can you even feel good about the win? Because that's not a team player. No, that's not a guy you want to root for.
You don't need William Nylander in your lineup to sweep the Boston Bruins.
You don't need him.
You don't need another app.
You don't need this guy.
You just don't.
Listen, you guys are going to sweep the Bruins, and you're going to do it without William Nylander. And again, anything short of that is a failure and a disappointment and an embarrassment. That's just my take on this. And I think that you guys agree.
Oh, it's so
Hockey
good.
Town.
Honestly, I would love us.
CAN.
I would love for all of our games to have like a brief segment where I read my favorite Maple Leafs tweets after the game.
Maybe we'll just keep. Maybe the Bear With Me account during the playoffs will just retweet our favorite Leafs tweets.
Yeah, I don't hate that.
We
I
do
thought
that?
you were gonna say we rebrand just as like a Maple Leaf.
No,
burner.
no.
No. People would be like, "Why am I following Leafs Nation? What's going on?" Like,
Here's
Leaf
the thing.
with
Yeah,
what the fuck? Like,
I would do that, but I like you said, I think that people would probably unfollow.
no,
It's
that
probably
would
not
be
smart.
a terrible move on our part.
But I think we just retweet angry Leafs all playoffs long, or all series long, unless they just keep hanging around. In which case, why not? Not even a quote to you, just a here it is.
Yeah.
Hey guys, look at this.
So good. And to kind of stay on this topic, I posted a couple clips because I was rewatching highlights of the Bruins Leafs games this season, and the best highlight video I saw in terms of like how much of the game they showed is from this Maple Leafs fan, and he posts like it's like 15-minute recaps, which for a regular season game that's great, like a lot of replays, and like I really appreciate it. It was well made.
Yeah,
but it was from the Toronto feed. It's, oh my goodness. If you folks listening have not watched these clips, please go to our Twitter account and find it. It's not hard to find. It's so insane to me. I was losing my mind. So it's the most recent game, and it starts with McCabe hitting DeBrusque and then cross-checking Marchand. That whole thing. We've talked about it many times. You know what I'm talking about. And the commentators are it's unbelievable. It's people say Jack is biased. Like it's so much worse than anything I remember Jack saying. Okay, that's not true, but it's bad. It's as bad.
Yeah.
To the point where they're just like, oh, Marchand like is like diving and trying to milk a call, and like, and DeBrusque gets nothing. Unbelievable. And then they like show Marchand and Coyle's combined hit behind the net. And he's like, how is that not a penalty? That's interference or even
no call
or even boarding. It's like boarding. Like, oh my, oh my God. I was watching it to get upset. I'll be honest. I wanted to get angry. Like I want to.
It worked. I watched it too because you sent it to me. It worked. If you're trying to get angry, I would go do that because it's crazy. What's crazier to me, like you said, is the Jack stuff because we do live in a bubble, and we watch the regional games here because we live here, and we see those regional games, and we see the national games. And when people are like, Jack Edwards is the worst thing that's ever fucking happened to hockey, and I don't know why it's a Boston accent doing that, but you know what I mean. When people across and they go, "Oh, Jack Edwards is the worst thing that ever happened in hockey," I just assumed like, oh, other regional guys are not like that over the last like 2 years. Because I told you I watched a game in Tampa, and then I listened to the radio in Tampa. And then we watched the Florida broadcast of one of the round 1 games last year. And now seeing the Sportsnet broadcast of this Leafs game. What were you guys talking about? Is that not what are you talking about? It's the same thing, except our guy is funny. And like, we all know he's like the crazy uncle. And your guy just seems like genuinely stupid. Like what? Why? What am I missing here? It makes me so much more angry for any Jack hate that's ever been put into the world. Like you just haven't watched other regional broadcasts then, or like you're incapable of being critical of your own people, which I think is directly related to being, again, a stupid person.
It's like when you see someone like a professional wrestler with their gimmick and their outfit in the ring, and people are like, "This is crazy." Like, look at this guy. Look how he's acting. That's bananas.
He hit him with a chair.
It's like, yeah, man, he's a wrestler. And then it's like your guy is just an accountant, and he's like that. It's like that's so much worse. It's like you don't even have the angle where it's fun or deliberate or like in on the joke. He's just like a guy who's just bad at his job. Unbelievable.
This guy's wearing a mask in there.
Okay, I know we want to keep this one short, so I'm going to keep going. Did you see what Sheldon Keefe said about Austin Matthews scoring 70 goals?
That it was a distraction?
It was obviously, that's a major distraction. He used the word obviously and major. Like, and then he was like, wait, no, hold on, let me explain. Like if you're Austin Matthews and you hear that, are you like, oh, I'm sorry? Do you want me to stop scoring every game for you? Like, that's now. Are you a coach in the NHL? Are you really a coach in the NHL saying it's a distraction that your player's going for 70 goals? Fuck you, you idiot. Oh my God. Unbelievable.
I'm so happy we get to play Toronto in the first.
Oh, it's so much better.
Awesome.
Like the storylines
It's
are
awesome.
just immediately there. Like with Tampa, we were gonna have to manufacture them. We haven't even played yet, and we already have so much to talk about.
Obviously, it's a major distraction. Is the craziest thing that a coach could say about a 70-goal season. Obviously, that's a major distraction. You can't be.
God. But he's like, okay, obviously, not good.
Look, we all know that sucks.
That's probably why I didn't fucking score it. It's like I would out of
so
spite, be like,
awesome.
all right, I'm done.
That's so awesome. I mean, here's the thing. Their coach is an idiot. Their fans are special kind of stupid. Nylander is like gone, which is funny and entertaining. Austin Matthews, I've always said and will continue to say, I like him. Like I like him. I think he's cool. I think he's great for the game. I think he's like a fun personality. I like all the little tidbits that I hear about him. I like them all. I would like him obviously a lot more if he had a different jersey on, but I don't think there's really anything Austin Matthews could or will realistically do in this series to make me upset at him like a single iota.
Like he could even score an OT winner. Be like, yeah, that's what he does.
Yeah, it's Austin Matthews.
If it was Matthew Tkachuk, I would not sleep that night. But like Austin Matthews, like, yeah, what are you gonna do?
And the other thing, like
goals.
Tavares too. It's like I don't really have hate in my heart for Tavares. It's like
they're high end, their offensive talent. Like I don't feel much for. The only guys I'm
fans,
like, fuck that guy.
Fans I hate more than anything, and their coach is just awesome.
I texted you this, and this is when you were like, stop talking to me. We need to save this for the pod.
Yeah.
I've seen it a few places, and I don't want to say the consensus, but what I've read is that some people believe that it's going to end up being a coaching matchup and that Montgomery will heartily outcoach Sheldon Keefe.
I mean, if that is the case, I believe it. But I just feel like in the NHL, coaching is far down the list of things that have an impact. I just believe that. Like in terms of like the four major sports, it's fourth. I think
probably,
it's fourth.
yeah.
I mean, in NFL, it's like maybe the most important thing. Like
you're
good
picking
coach
the guys who are playing at that moment. Like that's kind of. But but that's what it is. It's like they think that Keefe will not do matchups well. And the part off of that, like the Bruins players will get under the skin of like the better Leafs players, and they Keefe won't know how to respond to that very well. I'm not saying this is my opinion. I do not know him well enough to have an opinion. I'm parroting what I've heard elsewhere.
Right. But
I just like hearing any take that's like, and here's why Boston has the edge. I've only seen one place predict Toronto to win this series, which like predictions are
bear
whatever.
with me because the Leafs are going to sweep.
They are going to. We should tweet. It's like
Bruins the name of this
swept.
The name
Leafs in 4.
The name of this episode is Leafs in 4.
We're gonna get so many rage clicks. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be our most downloaded episode ever.
Yeah, we're gonna clickbait the name of this episode.
That.
It's the beginning of the playoffs. We're bringing in a lot of new listeners, folks. If you've been an OG, stick with us. We're gonna.
What you meant about you want this episode to be? Sorry, is that what you meant? You want this episode to be controversial? So this Toronto team's not bad. Like, oh, that's so fucking funny.
And that's awesome. I hope Leafs fans click on it and they're like, "Whoa, this Bruins pod believes that they're gonna win."
Yeah, the only place I've seen them actually get picked is TSN. And it's like, all right, well, yeah.
No way.
I know, right? But it's like, again, much like Marchand seems to have learned from last year. Whenever they keep posting that like spiral, like radial graph of like odds per series, and I'm like, I don't fucking care. It doesn't matter. Like Bruins had like a 99% chance to win the first round, and look how that worked out. So who gives a shit?
Yeah.
The only other Keefe quote I have written down here is they asked about like, what did you learn in your first 4 games? Is we learned what doesn't work.
There you go.
You sure did, Sheldon. Also, his name is Sheldon.
Yeah, you can't lose to Sheldon.
Jim versus Sheldon? Get the fuck out of here.
I think I know who I'm picking. Yeah.
I am going to do another thing I like to do where I pick out specific Reddit comments and explain and put a spotlight on it. Be like, this person's stupid.
Let's do it.
In the context, hold on. I got to find it now. I just lost it. In the context of Jim Montgomery having been the Jack Adams winner last year and then Boston losing the first round, the quote is, Jack Adams winner, though, just shows you how meaningless of a trophy it is.
What?
The guy was implying that the Jack Adams is a meaningless trophy because Jim Montgomery, in his first year as a head coach of the Boston Bruins, had 65 wins.
Because they didn't win the cup. That means
because they lost in the first round, so it doesn't count.
Okay.
It doesn't count.
Okay.
All
right, perfect. Okay, now I know that.
Would you believe it was a Maple Leaf fan? Because it was.
Wait, you're like a Toronto Maple Leaf?
The Toronto Maple Leafs. Our Toronto Maple Leafs.
But that's a stupid comment. Why would a Toronto Maple Leaf fan say that?
It may have been a burner account, but it's hard to say.
That's weird. That doesn't sound like them.
I think Sheldon
Keefe
wrote that comment, actually, now that I think about it.
Obviously, that's a major distraction.
He bought the case and everything. Obviously, we gotta use that line so much. I want to use that line like every episode. Like,
I have a soundboard somewhere. I'm gonna start using it on the show.
Yes,
obviously that's a major distraction to be like one of the main hits.
It's like, I love like awesome. What Chaos has one, and it's Dangle going like, "Get off the Leafs!" Like talking about Bertuzzi when he was laughing at Marchand, which is like another installment of like, you guys are the dumbest fucking people to walk this earth. To think that is not the best way to handle Brad Marchand chirping you is to laugh along. Undeniably, the best thing you can do is just laugh it off. Be like, okay,
yeah,
like
all right,
anything else, he wins. Like that's the only way to win.
And one guy has the formula for it. One guy on your team has played with him before, and you're like, what the hell? What is Bert doing?
People were building guillotines at Scotiabank. Oh my goodness.
Awesome. I can't wait to play this team. This series is going to be awesome.
So excited. I'm a little less excited that the first game of the playoffs is Carolina Islanders and not Florida. So I have to watch it.
I know. It's the worst part. The worst part of bad playoff series is that you still watch them.
That's the thing I do. I'm like, I just won't like it as much. And all it takes is a hot goaltender, and all of a sudden it's a really good series. So
yeah.
William Nylander, speak of the devil from 20 minutes ago. He did not practice today, and he is a, quote, possibility for tomorrow. Which,
wow.
Hey.
Do you think it's because he's a selfish player?
I think it's because he didn't play that puck. I think that they scratched him. I think Sheldon Keefe was on Twitter. It's like, these guys are on to something.
You know, the other thing, honestly, with Nylander is that he's not a team player. He's too young. He's not a team player. He's not the kind of guy that you want in the playoffs. So, I mean, it's more likely than anything that's disciplinary.
Obviously, he's a major distraction.
Yes.
The too young thing, I've been loving how many people on Twitter are like, this is still the best thing the Bruins have ever made. And it's like
Russo said it.
Play a pipe video where you're just your flagship radio station, you're just mocking his take. And then someone was like, I forget what the concept or exactly what the wording was, but basically saying that like there's too many shitty takes from Felger for us to do this for all of them.
That was Russo that said it.
I know. I tweeted.
It wasn't someone. It's the guy from the Bruins who makes them was like, there's too many stupid things he said. I can't even pick one.
It's so good. Yeah, how could we possibly whittle down which asinine take to make fun of? Oh, it's so good. It's like when Elliot Friedman told that guy to drink bleach.
Did you see that Felger now thinks they should use the goalie rotation?
Yeah, well, okay. Well, how does he say it? Because he said that earlier in the season, and now I'm curious what like the context behind it is, if you know it.
I'm pretty sure it was because it doesn't matter because they're going to lose anyway.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, the last time he said it, it was more like, you know what? Fuck it. You win. Commit to it. Olmark has a 40 save shutout. Go with Swayman next game. Whatever. Who cares?
It's the same. It's the petulant.
So he's just pooping his pants.
Yeah, it's the same petulant tone that he used this time. He was basically like, you know what? I think they should use it because it doesn't matter anyway. You're only going to rotate them for a couple of games.
Pretty good.
They're not getting through.
It's a good Felger impression.
If they get through round one, they're not going to be in round two or for very long. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm done talking about this.
It's like
nobody cares. We're moving on.
Fox
That's his
News
other
of
thing is that
hockey.
he'll bring up something and then diatribe or have a full diatribe and then be like, nobody wants to hear this. Like you're the one fucking talking about it, bro.
It's your show.
And it's your show. Also,
we're out of time. Like that was the whole show.
Yeah.
Did you see the EA Games simulation of the playoffs?
I did. Where in the Bruins play 4 Game 7s and lose to the Canucks. Yeah, that's fun.
Game 7. What? That's like somebody hand wrote this one. No way. For 7, and then so they got the Bruins playing the Leafs, the Lightning, the Rangers, and then you lose to the Canucks.
Yep.
Obviously, it's a simulation. Who really cares? The only and then Canucks sweep the Predators, which it's not impossible. I just thought that was really funny.
Yeah, that was good.
Covered forwards, the goalie. Yeah. Talk about Utah. One thing I forgot from the Bruins Leafs is that one of the games this season was the one where Marchand won it with like 3 seconds left in overtime when Nylander just tripped on the red line.
Oh my God.
And then like Marchand jumped up to catch the puck, just threw it down and shot it in what was basically an empty net. Totally forgot about that game. So that was a fun one to go back to watch.
Well, again, Nylander, dude. That he got built for
just
big moments. Not a team player. Shouldn't have fallen. Selfish move to fall
Get
down.
up. The Jack. The clip
Get
of
up.
talking. Get up.
How do you stop the play while he's still conscious?
I'd understand if there was a bone sticking out.
Dude, we're going to have to do a full Jack send-off after round 1. But prepare it because like we got to do like favorite calls. I'll get all the clips ready and drop them in as we go. We can make like a combined top 10 list and drop them all in throughout.
I like that. Yeah, we should do that.
Yeah,
I love the one. It's just a quick one. It's like Steve Ott got kicked out of the game. And
Brave
Jack's
Steve.
like, oh, there he is. Braves. And this is the way he says, there he is. It's like I've never heard Jack say anything
there
like
he is.
that.
There Brave he is. Steve.
And it's
there
like
he is.
He says it like he doesn't know the mic is hot. Like it's so like, oh my God, that's a different inflection.
Yeah, I mean, Jack's getting riled up. I mean, if there was ever a game to get riled up for, that Bruins Stars very short-lived 2-game rivalry was probably it. Oh God, it was good. God, it was good.
Oh my goodness.
Jack is gonna have a time with.
He's gonna have so much fun.
Some of these quotes. I hope Jack brings up obviously it's a major distraction because that is in his wheelhouse to be like
his own coach about it.
Believes, yeah.
Like the Bruins are gonna like win in overtime after like a Matthews turnover. He's like, distract that. I want it so much. I love the photo of Pat Maroon with Matthew Patra, with Maroon with his arm around Patra.
Unbelievable.
And people are like, oh, it's like he adopted him. It's like Maroon's actual son is only 4 years younger than Patra.
That's my favorite.
Crazy. Maroon's 35, and he is a kid that's like could potentially be in the league. And I don't know if he's going to be good enough to be in the league at 18, but could be in the league before long, which is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, that also means Pat Maroon had a kid at what, 19?
Yeah, 19, 20, something like that.
Yeah.
Which I was like, that's young. And I was like, I know so many people who had kids around that age. It's like really not that young to have a kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is.
I always think of myself as a young father. I was like, wow, I was really young when
How old were you?
I was about to turn 25. That's not young at all.
That's a very normal,
incredibly
age.
normal.
Back then, people died at 25 not that long ago. That's like you lived a long life.
Yeah, I remember when my son's mother got pregnant, we were terrified to tell our parents. We're like, we're going to be in so much trouble. Like we're in their mid-20s. We live together. We have jobs. Yeah.
Have to go rent a car to go tell them about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All that is to say that I have the brain of a child, but that's
more fun that way.
That picture of them was awesome. That like they do that a lot where like, they'll say, oh, old player and a young player.
They're still here.
Kid. But like, that one actually looks like that's crazy that he like think about that from Potsy's perspective where it's like, oh yeah, I'm getting to know these guys. Like I'm better friends with their kids though. Like that, I don't know.
It is crazy. The most like enthused Pat Maroon has looked since coming to this team.
Which is, yeah, I think he might just be awkward. I mean, I saw that video.
He's not even smiling,
weird.
and I'm
Did
saying
I show you that video.
Which I'm sorry,
like
what
the
video?
Weird Pat Maroon moments.
No,
I didn't realize how weird he is.
I was starting to think, I'm like, I gotta go watch like interviews when he was like on the Lightning or something. Like, is he just like this?
He's like very individual, bro. Like he almost he's almost like like Lenny. He has some Lenny to him, like of Mice and Men Lenny to him. You know what I'm saying?
I thought you meant The Simpsons.
No, like of Mice and Men Lenny. Like he's like a kind of a big dumb weirdo who very gentle giant kind of thing, but also snaps. Like a lot of clips of him loving the smelling salts, like getting in there. Yeah. A lot of clips of him being like, that's the stuff.
Do you think he's gonna like ease into game one, or do you think like he's like his eyes are gonna go black like a great white and he's just gonna destroy someone on the first shift?
That's pretty 50-50 to me, to be honest with you.
Fair. I can
see both.
want him to destroy somebody on the first shift, but
I think
we haven't even seen a big Maroon hit yet.
I think it might take a little bit, to be honest with you. It's harder to picture him doing that. As much as I want that to be the case, it's harder to picture. I think it's more likely that he takes a little bit to get going, and then like by like game 4 or 5, he's in the middle of a big scrum.
I have my first non-Leaf sweeping the Bruins prediction. I think Marchand lays the first big hit.
I think Marshy is the epicenter of bullshit in this series. I don't think that's a hot take whatsoever.
I think last year when we played Florida, and Marchand didn't even take a penalty. And they were like, oh, we play between the whistles. I think they're going to be like, okay, well, that didn't really work for us. So, like, we're going to go do what we usually do. Yeah. I think he's going to be a wrecking ball. I think he's going to he's going to be everywhere. I'm putting a lot of expectations on him, like probably too much, in all honesty. He is my X factor. I've been hearing that expression coming around a lot. The only other thing I kind of want to talk about with the series is that, I guess two things, talking about Toronto scoring depth, and then in the same breath, everybody being like, oh, Boston's like a one-team line, or a one-line team, rather.
Yeah.
Which, like, I see what you mean, but no, like, that's not it. Like, just because we don't have Nylander and Tavares and Matthews, it's like, we don't have 3 superstars. Actually, we might. But like, do you know what I mean? It's like, we don't have, like, such top talent the way that the Leafs do, but like there's plenty of talent throughout the lineup. I have like
I'm
no
pulling up their
side
by side team stats right now. Just in terms of goals. I mean, so Matthews and Nylander is 69 and 40 goals, right, respectively. And so basically the Bruins are an Austin Matthews short of offensive production. But I mean, you look at their point totals and at their goal totals, like it's not distinctly different. Like there's a drop off for sure. But after Marshy, Coyle, like Zaka, like it takes a dip. Don't get me wrong. But I mean, McAvoy has your 5th most points on your team. It's like it's there. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think that it's when they talk about the Leafs depth, they're never talking about their 3rd, 4th line guys, which is their depth. That's what's weird to me. They'll be like the Maple Leafs are really deep, and then they'll just name like their superstars, and it's like, well, that's not depth. That's your top end. So yeah. Like that's just a different thing. Like their upper
like,
coat is shiny, but like
I think the Bruins 4th line is way better than the Leafs 4th line.
Even that also goes back to the whole like, how well do you know other teams' 4th lines?
Honestly, that's a fair point. That's the bias kicking in. Excuse me. Yeah, I if you don't even like make it a comparison thing, and someone who's like, "Are you worried about the Bruins forward depth?" I'd be like, "No, at all." Yeah. And defensively, someone on, I think it was TSN, they're like, yeah, like I don't think the Bruins really have an edge on Toronto defensively. I'm like, shut your mouth, they don't. They are so much better defensively. Significantly better defensively. We have too many defensemen. Our 4th pairing is better than your, like, well, I don't say better than their 2nd, but a very viable pairing. Yeah. So I just like, I'm not worried. Like I am, because it's the playoffs, you don't know. And it's like, we talked about like, wow, that would suck. But I feel very good about this. I really do. Like reserved. Like I'm not like, obviously we're going to win, but I feel very optimistic.
Can I play something for you?
Please do.
This is not going to be good for our audio listeners, but go and check us out on YouTube. The first YouTube video did well, so go check us out there.
Keep leaving comments so I can show my mom.
We talk about
it is a real job, Mom.
We talk about the goaltending being so strong against Toronto, and you know what I just remembered recently was this save in particular.
Ullmark is just sitting next to his pad, but a curl and drag through the legs, but he couldn't quite get it up high enough.
Remember that?
No.
No?
Nope.
No.
It's not even his best save of the season, but it's still very good save.
It's also just like, I don't know, people talk about Swayman being so great against the Maple Leafs, and it's like, well, there's Mitch Marner going through his legs and Ullmark going side to side. It's just a singular example, but yeah. I don't care. I thought about it, so I pulled it up.
I like it. There's nothing wrong with cherry picking.
No, nothing at all. Do you have anything else, or
I'm just curious? So the way I talked about, I think Marchand's going to be the guy. Who do you think for the Bruins at least will be like? Not even like the pace setter, but like who do you really have your eyes on to see the series?
I mean, it has to be Marshy, just because I think he genuinely has a true disdain for the Toronto Maple Leafs. But if I had to pick somebody else, I think Coyle throughout the whole year has stepped up and been like the 1C that the team has needed. I think he just maintains that and is the driving engine of the offense, I think, more than we're expecting.
I like that. Yeah. And I want to tack on, I don't think it will happen, but my heart would love for Frederick to be like a 3-4 goal scorer this series. And like big goals. Same with Lauko. Like give me like one really important Lauko goal. I think he deserves it.
And it'd be cool if Jake played too.
Jake, dude, sorry. we could have an episode about how much Jake hates the Leafs. A lot of it was Kadri, but I feel it would be a great time for Jake DeBrusk to heat up, for him to go on a hot streak. Please. He had in 4 games, he had 2 goals and 4 assists against Toronto this season. And the only player who did better was Pastrnak, who had 2 goals and 5 assists. Even Carlo had a goal on him.
Everybody did.
McAvoy was pointless against them, actually. And literally, not figuratively. What's the point?
McAvoy was obviously a major distraction.
That's all I got. I'm so excited, man. Like, I'm legitimately counting the hours. I'm doing nothing but watching Bruin shit for the next, like, 24 hours. I'm going golfing tomorrow. And the whole time, I'm just going to be thinking about the Bruins.
What are you doing for the game?
Got a couple buddies coming over.
Nice.
What are you doing?
Nice. Oh, I got plans to. Lots of friends coming to my place too.
Do you have a child?
No room for you. So,
okay.
Busy over here. A lot of friends coming over. A lot of girls coming over.
Joe, do you want to come over to watch the game?
Me?
Yeah.
I'll think about it. Pretty busy. God.
We've never hung out before, so it might be awkward.
Yeah. Might be weird. I don't know.
About time I met you.
Yeah. One of these days. I don't know. I'll think about it. No, I have my son tomorrow night.
Yeah, that's why I didn't even say anything.
Yeah. Actually, I don't know. Whatever. We'll figure it out.
Bring him. Whatever. I got beer. Like,
yeah.
I was about his age when I started.
Yeah. Well, why not? All right.
My dad used to have to pull the Bud Light away from me when he would give me a sip when I was a kid.
You were a get a sip kid?
I was absolutely a get a sip kid, especially if I was working in the woods. If I was working in the woods, I would just get a beer. But as a kid, it'd be like, oh yeah, give him a sip. And they literally, like, I would tilt it up and they would be like, no.
Okay.
To this day, nothing in my life has ever tasted better than a Bud Light did when I was a very small child.
Well, how old are we talking?
Please, I don't want to say because my parents might get in trouble. I don't know. We're from New Hampshire. It's different. It's lawless. Like, whatever. Beers. It's kids in France are drinking wine. Shut up. I'm like, it's fine.
I don't know, 7. I don't know. You've met my dad. You know this is not surprising behavior from him.
It's not I can't say I'm shocked. It's just
No. He's a good man. He's a good man.
He's a good man.
He's a good
Hey,
man.
he works hard.
He does. He says some outlandish shit, but he works hard.
Good guy, local guy.
Obviously, major distraction.
I mean, he's obviously a major
We're gonna ruin that expression before the end of the next episode.
All
right, that's it. That's all I got. So, again,
thanks
just
everybody
so
for hanging out.
Excited.
I'm so excited too. So excited.
Yeah.
Couldn't be more excited for the Leafs to obviously sweep these Boston Bruins. You guys got it. You guys got it. Thanks so much for listening. So much for What? Let me try that again. God, forgive me. Well, you know what? Actually, I'm glad I messed it up because I get to thank my good friends over at Prize Picks once again. The exclusive daily fantasy partner of the CLNS Media Network. Thanks to Prize Picks. Go check out Prize Picks. That you can see the code here on your screen.
Thank you, PP.
Description. Thank you, PP. More like it.
PP. Thank you, PP.
Thank you, PP. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for getting excited with us. Thanks for getting mad with us. Thanks for,
bearing with me. Playoff edition. Bruins and 6.